Shalom Shavua Tov. I hope you've all been washing your hands. We've been in this for 2-3 weeks, and some places even more. Parashat Kitisa, which we had 2 weeks ago, also speaks about this. The part from Exodus 30:17 till Exodus 30:21 mentions about the washing of hands. I'll read the whole thing. It says, and Adonai said to Moshe, make sure to have it ready here. Adonai said to Moshe, you are to make a basin of bronze with a base of bronze for washing. Place it between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. Aharon and his sons will wash their hands and feet there. When they enter the tent of meeting, they are to wash with water so that just cancel altogether. And some of us try to do something online, or we try to be creative. And this is very good. Um, what this may push us is, as we read about the building of the tabernacle, sometimes we rely a lot on external things for our spirituality, but this pushes us to really make a tabernacle of our hearts, because really, before it is out there, it must be here. Uh, we need to make it inside of us, and the heart of the tabernacle, like we have a heart that pumps the blood, and blood brings the nutrients. And don't want to do a class on biology, but um, the heart of the tabernacle really is the ark. And there was something that always surprised me with the making of the ark, which we read a few weeks before, is that the ark was made of acacia wood, which has the same properties as cedar, properties of resisting corruption, resisting rot, and but it was overlaid with gold. It was overlaid with gold outside to make it look all nice and shiny, or protected, but also inside. I mean, really, who cares about the inside? You know, and to me, that really shows. Uh, that really makes a case in point in our hearts the way it should be. It should be golden outside so everybody can see, but it should be golden inside too. Where God can see. Not be like what Yeshua says, whitewashed sepulchres, white on the outside, pure and nice and beautiful on the outside, and full of dead man's bones. We can't do that. It's supposed to be golden outside and golden inside. And this whole time, where we can't go to congregation and sometimes we can't even fellowship, reminds me a little bit of what happened to Israel when the Babylonian captivity happened. Israel had before the captivity, Israel had a temple and a priesthood and a Sanhedrin, and everything was working. There was a lot of issues, of course, but that's the nature of being human on earth. Issues. Like I always say, I don't believe in perfect, at least not in this age. Perfect is for the world to come. Here we always have issues. We have issues. The body as a corporate, the corporate body has issues. There's always issues. That's normal. It's part of being human. So um, but there was the temple and the functioning Sanhedrin, and all that went away when the Babylonians came and they burned the temple. They deported many people and left just a few farmers and poor people that they were not interested in taking those. But the country was not independent anymore. It didn't have a functioning religion, worship system. Everything was gone. So what happened then? What happened is that actually what I think is amazing, if we read the timeline of the prophets, whereas the temple in Jerusalem was gone, the temple that upon which all of Judaism was dependent on that temple. Judaism is very, very genealogical as well as geographical. It's genealogical because only the sons of Aaron can be priests, only the sons of David can be kings. Uh, and it's geographical because there's only one place where there can be an altar, and that's on that place where the temple was. There's no other place allowed to offer, to make offerings, to offer prayers. That's the only place. But what do you do? What do you do when there is no more temple? So at that time already, the children of Israel had to learn to be creative. What do we do? We just can't let go of everything. And God, as he took away the temple, and there is a red writing says that he took away the temple so that he would spare the people. But what happened at the same time, he sent prophets. That's where the role of prophets became very, very important. It was not just a prophet, it was not just somebody for the king or leaders, it became the direction for the people. And Hashem had a constellation of prophets just about everywhere. And he had Jeremiah and others in Jerusalem, but mainly the main one was Jeremiah in Jerusalem. Then he had Ezekiel and probably others, but Ezekiel was the main one in Shushan, in the province of Babylon. Then he had Daniel right in the palace of the king as the head of the wise men of Babylon. And these prophets, they gave direction. People used to come to Jeremiah to ask him, what should we do? Of course, they never listened, but at least they asked. It's better than nothing. And then there was to come to Ezekiel, so what should we do? And when they give them his message, they were not happy with it, but at least they asked. That's better than nothing. And then there was Daniel, who was leading the wise men of Babylon. And at one point, the other wise men wanted to get rid of him, of this foreigner who was set over them. It's always the same thing, same story. So, and you can read all that in the book of Daniel. Very, very awesome stories. So, but what happened then? There was no more temple. There was no more services in Jerusalem. People couldn't go there. They couldn't go on pilgrimage. So what did they do? They started study programs. That's where really yeshivas started. The learning of the Torah, the sitting down and exegesing whatever's in it. What can we draw from it? What can we squeeze out of the word? And the prophets were there to help, and then there's people who became teachers, and basically, really, what this did is brought spirituality home to everyone, to everyone's home, to everyone's heart. By doing what? By studying the Torah. So I think these times remind me of this. Yes, we can't go to temple, to the synagogue, to the congregation, to service, to home groups, wherever. But we live in a generation where we can all read. And thank Hashem, we have electricity, we have computers, we have access to a lot of study things. So I feel this is part of the program we need to take on, to take on study programs for ourselves, to study and to make a temple of our hearts, and to have this ark, this heart, golden, outside where everybody can see, but also inside where only God can see. We're finished with Exodus. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Woof. But it finishes in a really, really. In French, there is an expression, "ça finit en queue de poisson." It means it ends in a fishtail. What it means is a movie with a bad ending. It's like here Moshe had communication, free access to God's presence on the mountain, to the cloud of glory, and everything was going great. And the promise is that, hey, if you build me that thing down there, I'll come down and I'll live among the people and everything. So that was great, and great expectation, and they do everything as God said, and everything is really going hunky-dory. And then at the end, what do we read? And I'll read it here. It's really a fishtail type of ending. So here is it going. I want to read it from the text because it's really interesting. So they did everything they're supposed to do, and then what happens? What happens is that it's taking a long time. It's like it takes a while to do this thing. Then I'll start from Exodus 40:33. It says, finally he erected the courtyard around the tabernacle and the altar and set up the screen for the entrance to the courtyard. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of Adonai filled the tabernacle. So that cloud that was at the mountain came down, rolled down, and it covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of Adonai filled the tabernacle. Everybody must have gone, wow! And Moses said, oh yes, I'm not going to have to go up and down all the time. This is going to be great. But it says, Moshe was unable to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud remained on it, and the glory of Adonai filled the tabernacle. That was not the point. I think Moshe thought, I don't want to put thoughts in his head. And then that presence of the cloud became a signal whether she travel or not, So what's going on here? Well, the issue is it's not the end of the story, because this week we are going to read about the protocols of approaching God. The 5 first chapter of Leviticus are all about the protocols of approaching God. It's a little bit like if you want to go to see the president of the White House, you just don't walk in the White House. Long as, hey, hi. If you do that, you're going to get the security services, and I don't know if you'd even get to the door. You know, it's dangerous. You might get killed. You might get killed. It's the same with the Supreme Court justice. You don't go and say, hey, George. They have security. You need to, there's a protocol to meet these people. Make an appointment, go through 15 secretaries and wait 2 months. You know, there is a protocol to enter the presence of God. There's a protocol to approach God. And the first chapters of Leviticus tell us all about it. So, happy studying. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel. More might be coming. Shalom. Stay safe and stay healthy.